Alright guys, time for the last week of Rlcs. We're going to go over the promotion tournament, what teams I think are going to drop out of Rlcs, what teams I think are going to come into Rlcs. And before we start, guys, what are you doing? What's going on? At the rate we were going, we were going to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, around July, maybe August, and everything was going good. But this, guys, at the rate we're going, all of a sudden the last couple days, we're gonna be at 1,000 subs before the end of the month, before the end of April. What? Guys, why are you subbing to my channel? There's nothing here for anyone. I guess I gotta start talking about so I have seen a few comments over my videos asking just for face reveals and Q&A. I promised I'd do that at 1,000, so I'm gonna do something like that at 1,000. I guess I'm gonna do a Q&A or something, which honestly I never thought I'd even get to. So if you guys got questions, put them down in the comments. I'm gonna tell you guys to do it in every video until we hit 1,000, and then I'm gonna go over all the comments of every video in the the Q&A, and then I'm just gonna answer questions. Also, don't just ask good questions. You can ask good questions, but also ask stupid questions, because it's gonna be a little bit of a different type of Q&A. So ask good and really stupid questions, because I don't want to sit there and answer good questions for 30 minutes to an hour. But yeah, it's gonna be a good video. I'll make it good. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I haven't kept up with Rlcs too much. I have followed a couple teams. One of the teams that I did follow was Charlotte Phoenix, because Charlotte Phoenix has a player on their team that is really, really good. They have a player that's really good, and I want to see do well. I actually want to see him in the Rlcs, and his name is Shadow. I think Shadow is probably better than everyone in the promotion tournament besides First Killer, to be completely honest. He's really good. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to use statistics for you guys, and I'm going to use facts, and that's how I'm going to prove who I think is going to end up qualifying for Rlcs for Season 10. So let's start off with Rogue versus Stromboli. So it's no secret. Wonder is probably going to be kicked from the team. A lot of people are calling for his head. He did not have the greatest season. In fact, I want to also point out that Kronovi had a really bad season as well. And if Wonder and First Killer decide to kick Kronovi, that is something that I can see people being surprised at, but it shouldn't be a surprise at all, because Kronovi had probably the worst season he ever had in Rlcs. Yes, he had some flashy goals. He came in clutch when it mattered, which Wonder didn't. But Kronovi had one of the lowest goal participation in the entire league, lowest shots per game. Kronovi was on the bottom for most of the stats. I mean, the only one who really held the team together, statistics-wise, was First Killer. Wonder and Kronovi, you can make a case for kicking them both. But I personally think Wonder had a worse performance than Kronovi, because Kronovi at least could hold it together when it really mattered. But yeah, Kronovi, it really was his worst season yet. So I remember a lot of people were talking about how Wonder was the only reason. Some people just don't want to say anything negative against Kronovi, which I get. He is one of the biggest names in Rocket League history, but I think they really do need a change, and I think my pick would be Wonder. So going into this promotion tournament, another thing I want to throw out there is, by the way, if you're going to get kicked from the team, you know you're going to get kicked. Usually it's not a surprise. Like someone like Wonder, who knows he had the worst season of his Rlcs career, yeah, he probably knows that something's going to happen, right? There's either talks, they've talked about it mid-season. There's a reason that so many Rlcs teams get demoted to Rlrs, and it's because there's no will to try. If Wonder knows he's going to get promoted or demoted or kicked off the team, why would he try? But to be completely honest, I think Rogue is all around better than Stromboli. I think that even if Wonder isn't trying too much, they will prevail. And I think Rogue will take this over them, because I think that First Killer still is an insanely good player. I think he's like an Alpha 54. He was really good, but he still needs a team behind him to really shine. I think First Killer will be able to shine in this tournament. And I think since Kronovi does have a clutch factor, I think since this is where it matters, Kronovi will step up. So I think they're going to go on to the winners finals, and then Stromboli will go to losers round 1. Then let's go to United versus Charlotte Phoenix. Remember, guys, most teams aren't like G2 and C9. Usually, if you're in the promotion tournament, you're probably making changes. I don't think United is going to stay together as well after the season. If they do, that'd be incredible, just because I don't think they have what it takes to compete at the Rlcs level still. I think that they did last season, but a lot of people think it was a fluke, and it's kind of looking like that. Charlotte Phoenix, on the other hand, they're a good team. Like, I think Shadow's nuts. If you guys go back and watch any of his matches, he was honestly like J-Naps in the fact that he was like K-Dop in the fact that he just didn't miss the net. He was striking so well. Wait, was it K-Dop? No, Fairy Peak. Because Fairy Peak was scoring 1.08 goals per game. But yeah, no. Seriously, though, that guy's nuts, and that's one of the people I've been following in Rival Series. And I think that they will beat United, because United will probably be down. They're on a down note. Charlotte Phoenix is on a high note. I know they got some good players. And I think that it will be Rogue versus Charlotte Phoenix in the winners finals. And then Stromboli versus United in the losers round 1. Now, I'm going to go over this really quickly. I don't have that high hopes for Stromboli. I do have some hopes for United. I think that United will be able to take on Stromboli and beat them in the losers round 1. So, it's going to be Charlotte Phoenix and Rogue in the winners finals. And then it'll be it'll be United in the losers finals, waiting for one of these guys to lose. And then let's get on to Rogue versus Charlotte Phoenix. This is who I think is gonna win the winners finals. This is a tough one. I think Rogue and Charlotte Phoenix, you can make a case for both of them being good teams. But again, like I said, the way it usually works, and like I said, I was gonna back this up with stats. The way it usually works is the teams coming from RLCS are at a disadvantage because they're on a down note. They had a bad season. Maybe they're less confident. A player knows they're going to get kicked. I'm going to give it to Charlotte Phoenix because they're on a high note right now, right? They're really feeling themselves. They're feeling themselves all over the pitch, all over the court. Rogue, and they're broken apart. They're torn. So I think Charlotte Phoenix will qualify for RLCS Season 10. And I think that's a really interesting team to watch, especially Shadow. I think keep an eye out on him. Because in Rlrs, he was a monster. And he was in the promotion tournament as well against G2 and C9 last season. He was pretty much the only person holding that team together. I think that you can make a case for him being on an RLCS team, just being moved up or being picked up by another team. So yeah, then I think it will be Rogue versus United in the losers finals, which, you know, I just can't see United winning because both these teams, again, on the low note, but I think that Rogue is the better team. And I think Kronovi will barely clinch that RLCS spot, and then Charlotte Phoenix will also prevail. And those will be your two teams in Europe that will be moving on to RLCS. And then Stromboli and United will be Rlrs teams. Now, I can also see maybe it going either way in the winners finals and Rogue prevailing and Charlotte Phoenix going to losers finals, beating United, and then moving on to qualification for RLCS. But I think that both of those teams in the long run will qualify. It doesn't matter how they do it. And let's move on to Europe. So, RCD Espanyol and Solari, they are the two rival series teams that were in second and third place. RCD Espanyol, you might have also seen them in the European Invitational. Very good team. And I'm going to start off with Endpoint versus Solari. Honestly, I think Endpoint is on a very low note right now. I think that this will be the first time we'll ever see Endpoint really be a competitive in a match because they're against a team I think is more their skill level, an RLRS team, since they are the bottom of the RLCS. And I think this will be a close match, but this is a tough one. I think both these teams have an equal shot of taking it. I really do. I haven't seen much from Solari. The only team I've really looked at was RCD Espanyol because they were in the European Invitational. You know, I'm gonna give it to Endpoint just because Solari didn't even qualify for the European Invitational, while Endpoint did qualify, which makes me think that Endpoint just is overall the better team. So, despite them being on a low note, Solari on a high note, I will give it to Endpoint because I think that they are just better. So, I think Endpoint will move on to the winners finals. Solari loses round 1. Then TSM versus RCD. I actually like RCD. They look good when they look good. I'm going to give it to them because TSM, they are very defensive, and we know that. While RCD, I mean, they do have an offense. I can't tell you which players are the best because I haven't watched too much of them, but they took down Veloce in... They're the top of the rival series, and they took down Veloce in the European Invitational, which means they gotta be at least a decent team. All right, and they looked pretty good. So I'm gonna give it to them. I think it'll be RCD versus Endpoint in the winners finals. Then let's get on to losers round 1, TSM versus Endpoint. TSM versus Solari. You know, I always think that TSM is gonna move down to the rival series, but TSM always somehow clutches it out. Always somehow clutch something out. So I'm going to give it to them. I think TSM will take it against Solari. I haven't really been giving my predictions on games, but it doesn't really matter in this case. I'm not going to do that. It's a promotion tournament. I think that all these games are going to be close, by the way. So if you're wondering what the predictions are, I really think that all these games will be close. Just give it 3-2, or unless it's best of 7. Yeah, it's best. I think the winners finals are best of 7 and semifinals. So give it like 4-2, 4-3. I really couldn't tell you because I don't completely understand these Rlrs teams as much as I do the Rlcs teams. But yeah. So let's go down to RCD versus Endpoint. I think RCD smacks Endpoint. I think RCD is just coming in so strong right now, and they look like they do have a solid offense, a solid defense. Endpoint, what we've seen, but you got to remember, Endpoint has only been playing against Rlcs caliber teams, the top tier teams, while RCD's been playing against low tier Rlrs teams. So it's gonna be interesting, really interesting to see how they come in. But like I said, they did take down Veloce. RCD took down Triple Trouble. And RCD took down Reciprocity and won 5 games against Mouse Sports. 5 games against Mouse. As well as they beat Reciprocity in 4. Now again, Mouse and Rec were both at their low points. So you got to keep that in mind. They did start to... Rec looked very bad towards the end of the season. We all know that. So I gotta weigh that a little bit less. And then, but Mouse, that was still with Scrubkilla on the team. Yeah, that was still with Scrubkilla on the team, so you gotta weigh that in. But at the end of the day, you're not beating Rlcs teams unless you're a good team. I think RCD beats Endpoint, and they move on to qualify for Rlcs Season 10 in Europe. So then it'll be TSM versus Endpoint in the winners finals, and one of these teams will be coming back, and I'm gonna have to give it to TSM because they always somehow barely clutch it. I think the last 2 seasons they barely clutched either an RLCS spot or they made it through the promotion tournament, or the promotion relegation tournament again. They seem to just be able to clutch it in to RLCS. So they're barely that RLCS caliber team, and I think that they do play well against the rival series teams. It's the RLCS teams that they struggle with most. That's why they play so defensive, because they just don't have the offense to compete at the higher level. So I think TSM will beat Endpoint. I think Endpoint will be relegated. I think RCD as well as TSM will both qualify. And yep, those are going to be my predictions. RCD, I think that if you're looking at RCD versus Charlotte Phoenix, you might want to watch Charlotte Phoenix a little more closely. I think that from what I've seen from them, they do look like the better team. RCD, not to discredit them for beating top tier RLCS teams, but the RLCS teams that they did beat, Veloce, Reciprocity, Mouse, it was all when they were at their lowest in RLCS, right? They were all at their lowest. I mean, they were good matches, don't get me wrong. It's just, but those teams did not show up. And they got beat 4-1 against Sandrock Gaming, which I think Sandrock is a really good team, and I think there's no shame in losing to Sandrock. But RCD, they 4-0'd Triple Trouble, they 4-3'd Endpoint, and then they got beat by Team Singularity 4-2. But they made a good run. They made a pretty decent run, and I got to give that to them. So I really do think that I have a lot of hopes for them making it to RLCS as long as they play like they did in the European Invitational. But yeah, that's gonna be your promotion tournament. What do you guys think? Let me know. How many of you guys actually have been watching Rlrs? I watched the end. I watched a few matches. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch it all. It's a lot of Rocket League to follow up with North America and Europe. That's already minimum 12 hours of your week you gotta put aside for that. And then if I was gonna do rival series, I think it'd be another 12 because they stream all day on Friday for Europe and North America. And then if I was gonna follow your OCE and SAM, man, that would be another 12. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think anybody has that kind of time. Even the RLCS casters have no clue what's going on down in RLCS or over in OCE. They have little ideas. Like, they keep up to date with who's good. That's about it. Like, who's got the potential, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'll keep up to date with who's got the potential in the other teams, and then I'll talk about maybe OCE and SAM Spring Series a little bit. Give you guys some information on those teams. Give you guys some statistics. So when that comes around, I'll definitely fill you guys in on that. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to go over for the promotion tournament. What do you guys think? Are you guys happy to know that I still think Kronovi is going to be in RLCS? Because like I did say, I could rant about this for an hour, really. He had the worst season of his career. He really did. But I think that he stays on the team because, one, first killer will help carry them back to RLCS, and two, they're probably kicking Wonder if they're making a change. I can't see them staying together. I really can't. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.